The city shook as All Might and Endeavor rushed at All for One, desperate to retrieve Todoroki. All for One looked them down coldly, holding his arm lifelessly before himself as it twitched and expanded. A sudden gust of wind blew the two back, slamming them into a wall. Todoroki was seen as a great asset by my protege. You, of all people, should understand. Endeavor. Endeavor's eyes widen as he thinks about his son. I'll kill you! Endeavor rushes back and forth at All for One, being stopped by a familiar face. Darby. Endeavor and Darby stare at each other, a spark of familiarity ringing in Endeavor's head. He had seen this guy before. They lunge at each other as the red and blue fires spill through Camino Ward. All Might stand strong, staring All for One down as they exchange words. All for One mocks All Might as they lunge at each other. Shockwaves could be felt everywhere in Camino, heat radiating from the battlegrounds. Far away, Deku turns on his TV, distraught after another loss. He can't do anything but obsess. He wanted nothing more than for Todoroki to be free, his classmate who saved his life in the USJ. Deku had to repay the favor. The TV clicks on, immediately blaring an urgent notice of UA's press conference. Deku looks on as Aizawa and the UA faculty rush to cover themselves. Deku's mad until he turns the channel over, eyes widening as he sees the state of the battlefield he's in. His number one and number two heroes were fighting in. Deku immediately jumps out the window, rushing in Gear 2 straight towards Camino Ward. He had to do something. Punch for punch, blow for blow, the symbol of peace was locked in a brutal battle against the King of Darkness. Wolf One stood tall, quirks swirling around his grasp. Grinning beneath his cracked mask, the chaos of Camino surrounded them. Flames, screams, crumbling concrete. All Might's breath was ragged. Across the field, Endeavor was raging, steam pouring off him as he clashed with Darby. Blue flames lit up the night sky. Toya! He roared, fire erupting in every direction as Darby laughed maniacally, dodging with each step. Deku rushed at full speed, finally seeing a spark of blue flames. He finally had made it. He shoots his arm off at a light pole and flings himself forward, right into the heat of the battle. Without even thinking, he bites his arm, blowing the most amount of air he's ever blown into his body. He creaks as his body fills with air before leveling out, his limbs growing longer and his hair growing wavier. Air cackled around his body as he threw his fist. Gum Gum, Snake Man, Jet, Pulverine. His fist shoots forward, ricocheting against the air itself as it gains more and more speed. All for One, sensing it but not being able to dodge, would get clipped by this, throwing him off to the side as Deku readies another one. All for One begins laughing. The rubber boy finally came. Before he could, though, he's met with a look of complete evil. A look he's seen once before, but he didn't take too much notice of. Shigaraki. Shigaraki shoots towards him. Hello, rubber boy. You're facing me today. Shigaraki sends his arm out, laser beams coming off each of his 5 fingers. Deku's eyes widen. He has multiple quirks too. Deku stares the man down. He saw nothing but hatred in his eyes. Deku grinned a little. He knew this was bad news. He brings his arm forward once again, taking another bite before blowing more and more air into himself. Shigaraki looks on as Deku expands and stretches out, his muscles filling with air and popping outwards. A huge gust of wind breaking off Deku's skin. Gear 4, bounce man. The rubble beneath him cackled as he bounced. Shigaraki rushed forward. They clashed, blow for blow, shockwave for shockwave. Deku slammed Shigaraki back with a Gum Gum cannon. Shigaraki came right back, decay spiraling across the floor. He gripped Deku's arm, burning through the rubber, but Deku tanked it and countered with a jet stamp to the gut. Shigaraki wasn't phased. He leapt forward with a monstrous kick. Deku flew through the 2 buildings, smashing into a pavement. All Might screamed, Midoriya! Deku in his head was panicking. He had to win, to protect everyone, to set Todoroki free. He charged again, another punch, another kick. Shigaraki smiled. Deku was relentless. All for One from the sideline senses distress coming from All Might. He was distracted. All for One's face contorts to a wicked smile before he warps himself behind Deku. No sound, no warning. A spike through the chest. Deku's eyes widen, looking down at himself. blood pouring from the wound. All Might froze. The world stopped. All Might screamed, tearing forward, but it was too late. Midoriya collapsed, gone. All Might dropped down to his knees beside him. No, 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 no. Picking him up, but Deku's body stretched, lifeless to the floor. Bakugo stood still, trembling, looking on from a distance at his best friend, who for a second time sat dead right in front of him. You bastard! Bakugo charged in, explosions firing with every step. He blitzed Shigaraki, screaming, You killed him! You killed Deku! They clashed violently. Bakugo lost it. He fought like a demon, landing blow after blow. They weren't supposed to be number 1 and number 2. They were supposed to be number 1 and number 2. This was their dream, but even they couldn't last forever. Bakugo began slowing down, the explosions taking a toll on him. Shigaraki grinned, raising his hand to finish it, before the ground wobbled. Even just a little. Shigaraki froze for a split second. That wasn't a tremor, was it? The sky cackled over the head, lightning and rain pouring down over the battle scene below them. Everything went silent. The silence was interrupted by a beat, a drum, a low, melodic drum. Shigaraki could hear it, but where? Once again, the floor wobbled. Shigaraki knew he wasn't feeling it this time. Steam hissed from the crater. The clouds above him began to twist. The rain paused midair. White steam poured upwards. The rubble warped and bounced. Gravity began to shift like waves from the crater. From the crater, a figure rose, laughing, hair glowing white, body stretching and bouncing unnaturally. His eyes burned with a golden fire. He cracked his neck, tilted his head, and smiled like a lunatic. Miss me?